And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a game called Kaleido. This is another game from Japan, and it comes in a little pink box, almost looks like a jewelry box here. And like many games from Japan, it has a very unique theme and a very unique game mechanism. We'll talk about the theme first. You are together building a kaleidoscope for the Emperor, working together jointly. It's not a cooperative game, but that's what you're doing, and I guess you're trying to have your color be the most shiny color in this kaleidoscope. Okay, that's a very thin theme for a game that's essentially an abstract game. Let's take a look at the game itself. Here we have the board. We have two hexagons here that will start to board up. They each have holes in them. In fact, these are the sprues that the game comes with. The pieces come right out of them. And in fact, when you're done with the game, you actually have to put them in these sprues to store them in the box. So when you punch it out, don't throw these away because they're actually the game board. Each player is going to take 11 pieces of their color, and they're also going to get 2 white pieces of their color. Those are neutral colors. And then they're also going to set up a board over here. This is a scoring board here. So if, let's say, purple is 8 points, if he gets 18, he'll put one up here to show how many points that they have. Now, players will start the game, like I said, with 11 of their color, 2 white, and they'll also start with 2 more of these frames. Now on your turn, the first thing you must do is you must place a piece of your color in an empty spot. Then you check to see if scoring occurs. And you also then may either place a white tile in any spot, or you may place a frame out. And the frame has to touch, it's not going to score unless it's touching 2 or more tiles. So players are going to take turns putting the different colors in the different spots, and possibly adding white ones, possibly adding different frames to the puzzle. So let's say, for example, it works like this. Green does this, and then green shuts this one down. This one is now going to score, this top tile here. Now, when a tile scores, whoever has the most on it is going to get 8 points, and second most gets 4 points. In this case, there is a tie, so the players are going to add first and second place together, and they're going to score 6 points each, which will be marked in the track. Let's say this one over here has 3 reds, 2 blues, and a green on it. In this case, red would get 8 points, blue would get 4 points, and green gets nothing. And then if there was let's say we added another triangle up here that has some yellow in it, and yellow has 3, and red has 1, blue has 1, and there's a white one. So yellow would get 8 points for being first, and then blue and red would each get 2 points. And it's possible that you would even split it more than that. Let's say down here, for example, green has 3 in this spot, so they get first place with 8 points. 4 points split between blue, red, and purple. They would each get 1 point. And so this is going to continue. If at the beginning of your turn there's no empty spaces, you have to play a frame out. And so more and more frames are going to be played. Now, this will continue until people have played their final tiles. At that point, the game is over, but you're going to do final scoring. You're going to check the hexagons that are made up of 3 tiles. Like, for example, here. Now, before I mention this, whenever you score a tile, the person who put the final piece in also has a chance to rotate it. This will matter for scoring at the end of the game because you're going to score these other hexagons here. And you'll mark each hexagon as you score it with one of these stones in the middle. So you can see that hexagon's been scored, that one's been scored. And in this case, there are no other hexagons, but let's say there had been some here on this tile. And then so I need to score this one also. If there's some blank ones, like this one here is not scored because there's 3 blank ones there. Now, each of these is scored the same way. So in this case, you see that purple and yellow are tied for first, so they would split 4 points, and then these guys are tied for second, so they'd each get 2 points. Or I'm sorry, they would each get 6 points. These guys would get nothing. Here, red and purple tied for first, so they get 6 points. Here, red has first, so they get 8 points, and these guys would get 1 point each. After done adding all those up, whoever has the most points is the winner. The game itself is a myriad of colors and spinning, and I like it all. The components are pretty cool. I mean, it's area control. The only thing I don't like about the components is it really is kind of a pain to put away because you have to put all the pieces in these and then fit them into this box. But, I mean, that's very minor. Itself, I like the whole thing. The game is basically themed on a kaleidoscope, and when you look at it, it looks like a kaleidoscope of colors. Now, it's very interesting dynamics of how the game plays, and they change with the number of players. There's special variants for 2 players, but with the 3, 4, and 5, with 4 players, it's easy for one person to square off against someone else, and for another person, and you're fighting over control of the different tiles. Really, knowing when to place your white tile is critical, because you want to place it so that you can end something. At the same time, sometimes you'll finish a tile, which doesn't even score for you, just to rotate it to get those scorings at the end of the game. And even if, let's say, red and purple are facing off and green and yellow are facing off over here, at the end of the game, they will likely be facing off against each other because the hexagons are scoring that are in between. It's actually kind of a very unique area control because you're trying to control the most spaces in a hexagon, but at the same time, think about the bigger hexagons that they create. So I enjoyed this. This isn't something that's groundbreaking. This isn't something that's going to that I want to play all the time, but it is different. And different can be good. And there's very few area control games that are coming out these days where you want to have the most in something. And I suppose maybe there's a perfect way to play the game, I don't know, because there isn't any luck in it. It's just basically playing how the other players work off of. And I think I noticed in the different number of player games some variance therein. I think I enjoyed the ones with more players more because even though you had to wait a while to your turn and even though tiles would fill up and you didn't have as much control, there was more fighting back and forth, while a 3-player game could also be very tactical. Certainly one to check out. I don't know if anyone's going to pick this one up. Probably not. It's probably a little too obscure for folks, but if you ever have a chance to come across it, certainly give it a whirl. It's definitely a unique thing you can add to your collection. Tower Judgment, approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at coolstuffinc.com.
Een kide usha.